So when I started practicing law, the standard visitation was sort of what everybody was looking towards, and maybe every once in a while you'd get sort of expanded visitation. Over the last decade or so, there's been more of a push to move towards a more joint custody situation for both parents, where there's split parenting, where there's more time during the week. Now that has come under scrutiny lately with some psychologists that have been out there that said that's not in the best interest of the children, and so some judges have been pushing back on some of the joint custody situation over the last recent years. But there's some recent study that came out that looked at about 20 different factors that are in the children's best interest, and on every single one of them, children that had a true joint custody situation did better than children that did not, in areas like education, health, overall mental well-being, overall happiness. Even when those parents were in more conflict, those children tended to do better. So what that leads you to believe is that the more that both parents can be involved in a child's life, particularly with less conflict, the better that child's going to be in the long run. So what can we do to help facilitate that? Well, we'll have a good parenting plan where you guys can talk about what it is that you want to do, where you can foresee some things that may be problems in the future, whether it's extracurricular activities, whether it's school choice, whether it's, what kind of car are we going to get? How often do we going to be able to communicate with them via cell phone or FaceTime, those sorts of things. So what you want to do is kind of have a lawyer that can think through some of these problems that you have every single day, and someone who's got the experience to say, okay, well, in these cases, we need to think about X, Y, Z. Now, one of those things that's most important is obviously if you're going to have a split parenting sort of situation is how close is everybody going to be to one another. You got to be able to maintain a certain level of distance. I know here in Atlanta, that can be tricky, right? We've got people that kind of live all over. So that's going to be a first fundamental thing to think about is, are you willing to commit to being close to each other in order to facilitate that sort of give and take relationship? Because what we really should be focused on is what is the best interest of the children. And the best interest of the children is to live their lives as best they can with both parents involved to the best extent that they can be. And I serve in the capacity of a guardian ad litem in a lot of cases, which means I'm a third-party lawyer that comes into a case that represents the best interest of the children. So I have an opportunity to interview kids, meet with kids, and the one thing that I can tell you that kids don't want to do is be involved in their parents' divorce. They don't want to be involved. They don't want to be a pawn. They don't want their parents talking about them, because as much as it may feel good to you on one side to talk bad about your spouse to that child still loves that other parent and should love that other parent. And so as much as you may have hard feelings, the best thing to do is try to keep those to yourself. Talk to your girlfriends, talk to your guy friends at the gym. Don't talk to your kids about it. Keep a good respect for your other spouse, because this person's going to be involved in your life whether you like it or not, because they are the parent of your child. You're going to have weddings, you're going to have graduations, you're going to have grandkids. You don't want to alienate them, because that's at some point going to turn back on you. And the kids just don't want to be involved in that. They want to be happy. They want their lives to go on as best you can.